So I'm autistic and I'm also a Man United fan. So naturally, I spent an hour looking at this pass that ended up being quite a near miss, actually, nearer than it looked at first glance, by Harry Maguire. But what I'm trying to see is whether this is an offside. And it like to the human eye, it does look quite like it's an offside, and I'm not saying it's not, but I wanted to take a look at it and see for myself because got some inspiration from this Reddit user Zopina, I guess, and yeah, no offense, mate, but like the lines are in paint, obviously, and if you zoom into this right here, you can see that like this line isn't going right through the center, so it's not like super accurately drawn, right? And yeah, I wanted to take a deeper look. I wanted to get the image more high res. But honestly, I did not know that. I mean, obviously, it makes sense once you think about it, but I didn't realize this is how you're supposed to draw. And also, like, this line I'm noticing is, like, not right in the center either of this intersection. But yeah, I didn't realize this is actually how you draw the offside line. So it's a really cool technique, and I've never done it before. So I wanted to see how accurate we can get. Right? Um, thanks for the inspiration, I guess, is what I wanted to say to Zopino. But going back into Krita, Krita is the software I'm using to draw these lines. Really good, actually, recommend it. And we're going to have a look. So I've taken this image right here. It's very high res. It's whatever resolution the video I took it from was, which I'm not sure, maybe 1080p, slightly less probably. But I enlarged the image to my full 1440p screen, took a screenshot, pasted it in. Maybe I can get a better image, but I think this is not going to be a problem. This image quality is not going to be the limiting factor, because you can zoom in and you can quite accurately tell that this is the center of the line, right? So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've drawn some lines. So first, let's draw this line in, right? And I'm only displaying it. Let's go in and dig in and see how accurate is this line. It seems to be quite close to the center, maybe not quite actually. So let's do this, and what I can do is I can go into the vector and I can slightly nudge it over, right? And what you're gonna see is that as I scroll along, this does seem to be quite close to the center. If we're just focusing on the bottom, maybe something like this. But as we scroll along, right, we're going to see that now this is not quite in the center, right? And this is, I'm guessing, to do with the line drawing on the pitch. Obviously it can be pixel perfect when someone's drawing the lines on the pitch. Maybe they didn't net quite a straight line when they were drawing them. But you can see that the end of the line is pretty much in the center. And we go along, and it goes out of the page, which is important because when we add a second line here, now if we focus on this line, like this, we can see again here it's pretty much dead in the center, and scrolling is very annoying. So let's put it on the left side so that when we scroll up, we're still in frame, and we're not. So let's slightly zoom out. It's quite annoying. So as we scroll up, we're still not in frame. So zoom out a bit more. So we're not getting quite the pixel perfect view, but what I'm trying to say is that this black line is pretty much square in the center of the white line. So as we extrapolate the line outside of the page, we can see that they have an intersection point. And that's good because what we can do is we can, similarly to how the user on Reddit did it, we can use this extrapolation point. But what I realized is, wait, we also have this line. So what if we add it in and see if our lines are accurate? And again, we can see here, we're pretty close to the center of the lines. I can't see, a glaring error in terms of, like, actually near the corner flag here, I mean, it does quite look to be in the center. There's a bit more white because of the corner flag, because of the other line, because, well, because of those two factors. So it's a bit harder to tell on the edge whether this is right cross in the center. But if we look at something like here, we can see that along the line, it's pretty consistently in the center. So I'm pretty happy with how accurate this line is. And big reveal, they are not intersecting at the same point. You can see we can take this intersection or this intersection or this intersection or something in the middle. So it's quite ambiguous where the intersection is. But then I realized, wait, we also have this line. So let's draw that in. And we can see this is pretty square in the center here. And this line is very faint because it's far away. But looking at it with a human eye, and if I just take this line on, off, on, off, on, off, you can see, I mean, here it's not quite in the center, but if we focus on the starting points and ending points, and let me put them in frame, we can see, if we focus here for a second, at the top, we can see that it's pretty square in the center, and at the bottom it's like pretty square in the center as well. I'm actually saying this, I'm not 100% convinced. This is not quite in the center, is it? So that's the annoying part of this, is if I want to move this line, I have to go straight to the endpoint. But let's see what the endpoints look like. So you see, these endpoints actually align, like pretty, like the three of them, and it's this fourth endpoint, which is the outlier, which corresponds to this line here, which might indicate that the pitch line was not drawn very straight. Like, because our line is pretty straight along that line, it might mean that the person who drew the line on the day, who drew the paint on the pitch, did not put it like as a straight line parallel to the other three lines, which is likely the most accurate explanation. But I'm not happy with this being slightly off center, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to that vector on the fly here, and what I'm gonna do is zoom in so that I have this in frame and I have the line endpoint in frame. So let's do this. I actually don't need it. Can I zoom in a bit more, or will this take us too far? This will take us too far, so we have to work at this zoom level. And let's go down, and let's do this. Let's select our line, and now we're gonna slightly nudge it. Well, actually, I don't actually even see the problem with this line at this point. That looks like it's in the center to me. No, it should be slightly to the left. Okay. When you're zoomed out, things look good, but when you zoom in is the problem. So let's try and move it slightly, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, this is across the center. This is actually a much better line. Okay, so now let's look at the intersection. Okay, yeah, it intersects right at this point. Like, if you look at the lines intuitively, you can tell that they're intersecting at the same point, which is like this little square. So that's good, because when we have, so two lines means you're blindly trusting the lines. Three lines will indicate if one of those three lines is erroneous, but having four lines, if three of them align, and you've got the fourth as an outlier, then you can be pretty confident that that line is an outlier. So what we can do is we can just forget about this line, forget about it, and we now have these three lines. So now, from this point on, and I actually haven't drawn in these lines yet, but what we can do is we can add another vector layer, and we can actually start looking at the offside. So we can take a line, go very pixel perfect in the middle. I believe this is right at the intersection point, and it's very important to do these things accurately. And actually, let's give it a color. Shoot. Okay. Here I think. Yeah, that's right. So let's do. Is red a good color? Because the red shirt might be a bit of a problem. Probably not. So. Is there no color? No. Shoot. gradient? No, I want the color picker. Oh, that's how it works, right? Okay. So we pick some color. Let's go to like yellow. I think yellow is a good color. That's what the person on Reddit used. So let's take that, put our cursor right in the middle, and select this line. And now what we can do is we can elongate it. And what this will do is it will fix our starting point. And now we can just vary this line's position and be sure that it's a straight line along the pitch, right? So if we do it along this line, you can see, suppose that it's that what the supposed straight line is supposed to look like. Anyways, so VAR has it hard, man. Like, I mean, we can laugh at them all we want, but if you look. Hello, just a quick point from future me. What I'm about to say here is wrong. I am comparing Zirkzee's shoulder to, like, well, Robertson's entire body, basically. But what I should be doing is I should be shadowing the shoulder onto the ground of the pitch and comparing everything relative to the ground, like the Reddit user does in his screenshots. Yeah, that was a brain fart from me. But what I say about the foot is correct. It does look pretty clear with the line drawn in that Zirkzee's foot, which I'm about to go into a bit later on, that Zirkzee's foot is ahead of Robertson's entire body. So this is clearly an offside, but some of what I said was wrong, so sorry about that. Zirkzee's shoulder does seem to be. Let's actually. Oh, shoot, I did not mean to do that. I don't even know how I did it. But if we draw the line a bit closer to Zirkzee and zoom in on the players themselves, scrolling is much slower when you zoom in, which is annoying. And we might need to zoom out a tad. I think this is a good size. So, what the offside rule says is that either the foot. Oh, the foot. It's the foot. Okay, so this is clearly an offside because of the foot. The user on Reddit was actually drawing it from the shoulder. And the shoulder is actually onside. It's actually this foot that's the problem. And we can conclusively say that this would have been an offside if VAR did their job perfectly. Now, I do want to say a few words on VAR. Doing this myself, this took me like half an hour. They have to do this in like a minute. So, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, they can prepare their lines before the game. Like, they can take the 30 minutes before the game to have their lines ready, and all they need to do is that last yellow line that I drew, like, fix the starting point, and then just vary the line across the pitch. And they'll have much better resolution the images of the pitch. They will have many more lines for reference, because they can look at every single parallel straight line across the pitch. So that's the goal line, which I used, the box line, which I used, the center line, and the other two box and goal lines on the other side of the pitch. And they can see which lines have been drawn accurately and inaccurately. But assuming that those three lines are all accurate, we can clearly see that Zirkzee is offside. Now, actually, oh yeah, okay, I was gonna say let's extend it along the whole pitch and just make sure. But yeah, no, this is clearly offside. So yeah, I wanted to record this video and just to give you guys an insight into how hard it is to draw these lines, and maybe you'll think about giving VAR a bit of leeway. And I just looked here, like right where my cursor is. I was like, is this line straight? Yes, it is, because like it's about the end point. In the middle, like here, it doesn't look quite like it's in the middle, but the starting point and the ending point is what matters. And like, you know, it's all humans. It's all human drawn lines, and there's going to be variance. But if we have three lines which are pointing to the exact same spot, then we can be pretty sure that we're accurate. So I think I'm waffling at this point, and I'm gonna end the video here.